as we continue with lines and graphing, we run into the slope-intercept form, which we've already talked about, but we also run into another form which is called standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c. Yes, these are capitals. They're not small for the a, the b, and the c. Now, one thing with standard form that is critical is that there are no fractions allowed in standard form. You're not allowed to have fractions. So if you've got a fraction, you've got to get rid of it. Why do we want to get equations into slope, intercept, and standard form? I mean, what difference does it make in how it looks if it's got an x and a y? Both standard form and slope, intercept form are easy to graph. That's why we go through all of this trouble. After this lesson, we're going to start attacking graphing and how to graph lines and find equations of lines from graphing. So, standard form is the last critical one as far as how you write an equation. So I've got three equations right here. They're all written in slope-intercept. If you want to take something and convert it from slope-intercept to standard, or however it looks, it doesn't matter. You just simply need to get it to look like this. Now, let's examine this one. The x and the y are both on the left-hand side of the equal sign. The c, which is just a constant, that's on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So, now sometimes people will say, well, c is a constant and b is a constant. Are they related? Well, they are mathematically related. But c and b are not the same thing. C is what you're going to get when you calculate over here. B is the y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Does not cross the y-axis at C. So don't think because they're both whole numbers it means the same thing. They're not. Alright, so let's go on ahead and let's convert this. Y equals 3x plus 8. The y is on the proper side, but what about the x? The x we need to move over to the other side. So, how can I get rid of 3x minus 3x? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Minus 3x. And I'm going to write negative 3x plus y equals 8. Could you have written y minus 3x here? Certainly you could have. Would it have been in the proper order then? No. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. The second one. Oh man, we've got a fraction here, don't we? How do we get rid of fractions in equations? The easiest way to get rid of fractions is to multiply by the least common multiple of all of the denominators. Only one denominator here, 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 3. So that'll give me 3y equals. Now when I do 3 times 2/3, 3 times 2/3, I put a 1 under the 3, and the 3's end up canceling, don't they? It's going to leave me with 2x there. Because the 3's canceled, it's going to be 1 times 1. You're going to have a 2 on the bottom, I'm sorry, a 2 on the top and a 1 on the bottom, but we don't bother writing 1's on the bottom. And then 3 times negative 9, negative 27. Is this in standard form? No. Did we get rid of the fractions? Yes. 2x is on the wrong side. Minus 2x. Minus 2x, negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 27. Now, as you're doing your homework, you could put this in, and this is a problem with the online textbook that I'm not very happy with, and it will tell you this answer is wrong. It does not like negatives on the x. So, how would you get rid of a negative on the x? This is a perfectly correct answer as far as I'm concerned. But so that you get it right on your homework, you're going to have to divide everything by -1. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other, it'll be fine. Okay, so 2x minus 3y equals 27. Notice I just divided each of these by -1. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Well, Mr. Trapp, you left it negative up here. I did. Again, on this one, you may have to divide everything by -1 because your online textbook doesn't like negative answers in the x position, and that's okay. So, for your textbook, divided by -1, you get 3x minus y equals 3x minus y equals -8. It's not really a big deal there. All right, for the last one, got y equals 3/8 x plus 4. I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. Why did I choose 8? Not because it was the biggest one, but because it was the least common multiple. The least common multiple between 4 and 8 is 8. So that gives me 8y equals, so now I've got to do 3/8 times 8 over 1, the 8's cancel, 3x, and I have to do 1/4 times 8 over 1, the 4 cancels, leaves a 2, plus 2. And last but not least, minus 3x to both sides, negative 3x plus 8y equals 2. And again, that's perfectly acceptable. That's the right answer. But for the textbook, if you're using the online textbook, you're going to have to divide the whole thing by -1 so that it will accept the answer. So 3x minus 8y equals -2. Putting equations into the proper form, be it slope-intercept or standard form, is really just taking them, manipulating them, and using your using your fraction identities, but it's also just using the things that you know about equations. You have to do the opposite operation sometimes to cancel something out. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. But you've got to manipulate it so that it looks like either slope-intercept or standard form. Good luck.